Welcome, learners, to another deep dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something we all do every single day, communicate. And what seems simple on the surface is actually, well, it's packed with surprising nuance and practical insights. We're going to unpack the very fabric of daily English interactions.
Get right into it.
Getting to the heart of not just what we say, but how and why we say it.
Exactly. Our mission today, I think, is to go beyond just the words themselves. We want to explore the subtle dynamics, the things that shape conversations, both in social settings and professional ones too. You'll discover that being truly well-informed in English isn't merely about vocabulary lists.
No, definitely not.
It's about mastering these unspoken rhythms, understanding the choices behind, every phrase we use.
So if you've ever wondered how to smoothly introduce yourself or navigate a job interview or even just make small talk that actually feels, well, insightful, this deep dive is definitely for you. We're going to give you those nuggets of knowledge to feel more confident, more connected, and really, truly fluent in English-speaking environments. Okay, let's kick things off with one of the most fundamental interactions. Introducing yourself. Getting to know someone new.
Yeah, the basics.
It typically starts with those classic icebreaker questions, doesn't it? About hobbies, what you do for a living, that kind of thing.
Right. And we heard a great example, actually. Someone named Jessie was asked to share something interesting, and they immediately dove into their love for the outdoors, hiking, camping.
Ooh, okay.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is the natural way people weave in these personal passions. And then, almost without thinking, they subtly pivot to invite the other person to share, too.
It's like a little dance, isn't it?
It is a dance of revealing just enough and then inquiring. It's a real social lubricant. So Jessie didn't just cite their hobbies, they opened a door. Well, after mentioning hiking and camping, they smoothly transition. They asked, "What about you? Do you enjoy nature?" Hey, it's not just a statement.
It's an invitation.
Exactly, an invitation to connect. And the response in this case was a preference for the beach, the relaxing sound of waves.
Ah, nice contrast.
Right. It immediately established a relatable point of interest, even though it was different.
And the conversation didn't just stop at, the outdoors generally. Jessie's passion for photography came up. They described it as loving to capture moments, especially when traveling. The phrase used was freezing a memory forever.
That's a lovely way to put it.
It is. And there was this vivid little anecdote about photographing snow-covered mountains, feeling like a postcard and getting amazing shots.
See, that level of detail, even brief detail like that, it makes the hobby feel incredibly personal, inviting.
Definitely. And what's insightful is how this then provided context for their actual profession.
Ah, the job connection.
Yeah. A graphic designer, creating logos, illustrations for small businesses. They described it as creative and something that keeps me on my toes.
Which is a really effective way to say you're engaged, isn't it? Without sounding like you're reading off a resume.
Exactly.
This perfectly illustrates how hobbies offer such a low-pressure entry point into conversation. They're, non-threatening. A way to find common ground, even if your specific interests are totally different. The act of sharing and then listening, that creates the rapport. It subtly signals openness, a willingness to engage.
And the other person in this exchange turned out to be a high school history teacher.
Okay.
And they introduced their job by calling it challenging sometimes, but enjoyable and rewarding.
Rewarding. That word says a lot, doesn't it? It's not just information about the job title. It's a subtle but powerful signal about their job satisfaction, what they value.
It's all about establishing that initial rapport, finding those first threads of connection.
Exactly. So think about it. For you listening, how might you introduce your own favorite activities or your job? Using phrasing that feels similarly natural, maybe.
Yeah, what stands out to you about how they made those connections work? It's worth reflecting on. Hashtag 1.2 daily routines and unwinding. Okay, so once those initial connections are made, conversations often drift, don't they, into the more maybe personal details of daily life.
The everyday stuff.
Like how you spend your free time or what helps you relax, unwind after a long day.
Right. We heard Jessie describe a typical day starting with coffee, that classic, relatable, can't function without it line.
I know that feeling.
We all do.
Yeah.
Then working on projects, and then unwinding in the evening, reading or watching a good show. It paints a picture, doesn't it, of a structured yet comfortable routine.
Yeah, definitely.
And this naturally leads us to a fascinating question, I think. How do people actually balance busy schedules with their own personal well-being?
It's the eternal struggle.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what common activities do we all kind of gravitate towards to de-stress? Jesse's preferences, for example, mystery novels, anything with a good storyline.
That makes sense. Escapism.
Exactly. It reveals that desire for immersive, engaging content, a way to fully switch off from work mode. And this shift from professional life to personal time, it highlights a universal human need for downtime.
Absolutely. It makes the conversation immediately relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And when the conversation pivoted, the teacher shared their relaxation technique,
Yeah.
cooking.
Ah, cooking. Interesting.
They described it as therapy, putting on music, trying new recipes, just kind of unwinding in the kitchen.
That's a lovely image. Very sensory calming.
It is. And that idea of cooking as therapy, I think that's something many people can deeply connect with,
Yeah.
especially when it involves that creative experimentation.
Did they mention a specialty?
They did. When asked about a signature dish, the answer was pasta, specifically experimenting with homemade sauces. And they noted it's been a hit with friends.
Oh, nice. That personal touch, sharing with friends, it speaks volumes about the joy of creating and, well, sharing.
For sure.
Then the conversation introduced a new element, didn't it? Running.
Yeah, the teacher mentioned taking it up recently. Finding it helps clear their head, stay active.
Okay, a physical outlet.
Right. And this led to a discussion about motivation. The teacher was really open about it, admitting some days are harder than others.
Mm-hmm. Relatable again.
But they emphasized the power of setting small goals, like just running for 20 minutes, making it more manageable.
That's smart, breaking it down.
And what's particularly insightful, I thought, was the additional benefit mentioned. Plus, it's a great way to explore new places.
Oh, that's a good point. Combines exercise and discovery.
Exactly. And Jesse's reaction was interesting, one of impressed hesitation, expressing uncertainty about the discipline needed for running.
Which is a very common and honest sentiment, right? Not everyone's cut out for disciplined running.
Totally. This casual give and take, where someone asks about habits and you share your own, it just makes the whole conversation feel authentic.
Yeah.
Approachable.
Definitely. So for you listening, consider what your own therapy is after a long day. How do these kinds of personal anecdotes make a conversation feel more relatable, more human for you? Hashtag tag 1.3. Reflecting on background and future ambitions.
So we've talked about unwinding after work daily routines. But what about the bigger picture? How do these everyday chats sometimes reveal what truly drives someone?
Where they've come from, where they're actually headed.
Yeah. It's often in these deeper moments, I think, that we uncover those pivotal life choices, maybe, and that universal human pursuit of growth.
Absolutely. We heard the teacher's origin story coming from a small town about 2 hours away, one of those places where everyone knows everyone.
Ah, I know the type.
Right. It immediately paints a picture. And their expressed desire to move to a bigger city for the energy, that highlights a really common aspiration, doesn't it? For growth, new experiences. It shows a forward-looking mindset.
Yeah, these discussions often reveal those underlying values, those aspirations. And the evolution of their career path is a perfect example of how life, well, it isn't always a straight line, is it?
Rarely is.
Originally, the teacher wanted to be a writer, jotting down short stories, dreaming of publishing a book someday.
Wow, okay.
But that ambition shifted during college. They did some tutoring and realized how rewarding teaching could be.
Ah, so an unexpected discovery.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes our true callings, they emerge from experiences we didn't plan for. And the fact that they still write, keeps a journal, poems, short essays, just as a hobby. It reinforces that initial passion, doesn't it? Even if the professional path took a different turn.
That's really interesting. And on Jesse's side, their career evolution was, well, kind of similar in a way. They loved drawing as a kid.
Right.
Initially thinking it would just stay a hobby, but then a digital art class in high school became the pivot point, revealed graphic design as a viable career.
So education playing a key role there.
Definitely. It underscores the influence of education, exposure in shaping those professional paths. And while Jesse considered branching out, maybe starting your own business, they were really candid about it feeling like a big leap and expressed contentment with building my skills for now.
Which indicates a pragmatic approach, right?
Yeah.
Valuing gradual development over maybe taking a huge immediate risk.
Exactly. Pragmatic. And this commonality of self-doubt and considering financial barriers,
Yeah,
it often surfaces when people talk about big goals.
for sure. The teacher's future ambition, for instance. getting a master's degree in education, specifically to specialize in teaching English as a second language, ESL.
Okay, ambitious.
Yeah, driven by a desire to open up more opportunities and connect with students on a deeper level. But,
There's always a but.
oh, right.
Mhm.
They candidly acknowledge the challenges, like time, mostly, juggling work, and the big financial commitment, needing to save up for it.
That's real life. Those practical hurdles are always there.
And Jesse's goal, by contrast, focused on improving public speaking skills.
Common fear.
Totally. Admitting they get really nervous presenting to clients and feeling it's holding me back professionally.
That vulnerability is incredibly relatable. So many people feel that way.
Definitely. And Jesse considered taking a class or maybe joining a group like Toastmasters, but found the idea intimidating.
Understandable.
So instead, the plan was to start small, practicing with friends, maybe recording themselves to improve.
And that highlights a crucial communication insight, doesn't it? The power of breaking down those large, intimidating goals.
Into small steps.
Makes them feel less overwhelming, much more achievable, just like Jesse is planning to do. So for you listening, what big goals are you working toward? How might breaking them down make them feel less daunting?
Okay, let's shift gears now. Move into the workplace, where conversations tend to take on a more, well, structured, goal-oriented tone.
Right. Less personal rambling, more focus, brainstorming, problem solving. These are absolutely central.
Exactly. We listened in on a team meeting, and they were focused on developing eco-friendly packaging.
A very current topic.
Definitely. The initial idea was, pretty standard. Use recycled materials, paper, cardboard. A strong, sustainable goal.
And this scenario is a fantastic demonstration of collaboration and negotiation in action. You see diverse ideas clashing, but constructively.
Right.
And finding a workable compromise becomes essential for progress, especially when you're balancing ideals like being eco-friendly with practical constraints like budget.
Yeah, that came up immediately. The recycled material idea, while great aspirationally, was immediately countered because the cost was expensive.
Classic problem.
This rapid-fire exchange of ideas, counterpoints. It's typical of effective brainstorming, isn't it? Not every idea is perfect, but every idea pushes the process forward.
Exactly. So an alternative came up. Smaller boxes to save money.
But then
Then the counter, concerns about product fit. Will everything actually go in the smaller box?
right, practicalities. That's where a team member, Lisa, introduced a clever alternative, reusable containers.
Ooh, interesting. Customers could reuse them at home.
Yeah, that was the idea, a creative solution. But again, immediately met with a question about potential cost.
Always comes back to cost.
It often does. So the team decided on a clear action plan. Jake would research costs. Lisa would research recycled material suppliers.
Good delegation.
This structured approach, moving from that free-flowing idea phase to delegated, focused research. That's key to moving any project forward, I think.
Absolutely. So following that initial brainstorm, the team met again, review and compromise phase. And the research showed the recycled paper supplier was 100% eco-friendly, perfect for the brand's aim, but
Here it comes.
30% higher price than their current supplier. Over budget.
Ouch. So the classic business dilemma.
Right there. Bland values versus strict budget limitations. This tension between, aspirational goals and practical limits, it's such a common workplace reality. It demands strategic thinking.
So what was the compromise?
It was brilliant, actually. Use the recycled paper for half the products this month.
Oh, okay, like a pilot program.
Exactly. To test customer reaction without overspending. If sales went up, then they'd switch fully next quarter. This phased implementation, it's a prime example of risk mitigation in action.
Testing the market without full commitment. Smart.
Very smart.
And to really show their commitment to customers and transparency, they decided to add a note on the packaging itself.
What did it say?
Something like next step 100% recycled.
Managing expectations. Good move for brand building. Customer communication.
Definitely. The meeting also touched on competitor analysis. Notice that a competitor, Fresh Clean, had just launched a new lavender detergent. Their ads were everywhere.
Gotta keep an eye on the competition.
For sure. Ideas for countering this included promoting their own stuff more on social media, maybe offering a free sample with orders, because, as they noted, people love trying before buying.
True. Free samples work.
So the action plan there was equally decisive. Jake to check Fresh Clean's pricing, Lisa to draft a social media post highlighting their own lavender detergent's eco-friendly formula.
See that structure again. Brainstorm, research review, compromise, action plan. It's a blueprint for effective team dynamics. It's like principled negotiation, isn't it? Focusing on the underlying interests, eco-friendliness, budget, market share, not just fixed positions.
Great way to put it. So, for you listening, think about a time you had to compromise on a goal. How might this kind of structured approach help you navigate similar situations in your own work, or maybe even personal projects? Hashtag 2.2 work-life integration and workplace small talk.
Okay, so beyond those formal meetings, the workplace is also where a lot of informal, yet I think incredibly important conversations happen.
The water cooler chat, the lunch break talk.
Exactly. The kind that truly builds team cohesion, a positive culture. We got a glimpse of those when Lisa requested 5 days off next month for her brother's wedding.
Right. And these seemingly casual exchanges, they're absolutely vital for building rapport, understanding team members' lives beyond just their job titles.
Yeah. And navigating practicalities like time off. The immediate challenge, of course, was that Lisa's time off coincided with a product launch.
Potential conflict there.
Could have been. But a quick, efficient solution was found through clear communication. Lisa promised to complete her social media plan early.
Proactive.
And train Jake to cover her emails. Jake confirmed he'd handle it. Request approved. Boom.
Smooth. Shows flexibility, proactivity, cross-training. All working together in a supportive team. True collaborative problem solving, but happening informally, quickly.
Exactly.
Real time.
Then we moved into a lunch break conversation, which felt incredibly relatable, I thought, and really showcased the power of lighthearted small talk.
What were they chatting about?
It revolved around someone's mom's chicken curry versus Jake's attempt at healthy eating with a salad.
The eternal battle.
Right. And there was great lighthearted teasing about Jake's past diet failures. Third time this year, someone joked. And vegan January, that apparently lasted 4 days.
Jake humorously claimed he made it to day 5. But the motivation for his current diet was doctor's orders, which added this little layer of serious self-care amidst the jokes.
Makes it feel more authentic, less like just banter. And this perfectly highlights the role of humor, gentle teasing in building camaraderie. It makes the workplace feel more human, doesn't it? Allows colleagues to connect on a personal level beyond just job titles.
Totally. The conversation flowed naturally into weekend plans. Jake was heading for a hike, jokingly wanting to burn off that salad guilt.
Understandable motive.
While Alex was painting his living room, which had apparently been beige forever.
Oh, the joys of home improvement.
Then the offer of homemade brownies by Lisa, leading to Jake's comment about his diet crumbles.
Perfect.
It perfectly illustrated the universal experience of diet struggles, the temptation of delicious food, all serving as common small talk topics that actually strengthen bonds.
They're not trivial, these chats. They're the connective tissue of workplace culture. So, for you listening, what subtle cues can you pick up on about the office culture in your own environment, just from these small interactions? Hashtag 2.3, the art of hiring and workplace acronyms.
All right, moving to a slightly broader professional scope now. Let's look at the fascinating process of hiring. What truly goes into selecting the right person for a team?
It's a critical function. We heard about 2 very different yet equally insightful hiring experiences. First, from someone named Dan, who managed a coffee shop, downtown Asheville.
Okay, high-pressure environment.
Definitely. His main criteria for hiring baristas: cheerfulness, presentability, and whether they seemed with it.
Seemed with it. What does that mean exactly?
It meant being on time, able to follow directions, and crucially, exhibiting low drama.
Low drama. That's interesting.
It raises an important question, doesn't it? Beyond technical qualifications, what soft skills or character traits are truly valued today, especially in customer-facing roles? Dan's emphasis on low drama, it goes beyond just avoiding gossip.
Right.
He's looking for emotional intelligence, really. Someone who can navigate interpersonal conflicts constructively, maintain a positive outlook under pressure. Separate personal issues from professional interactions. In a high-pressure, close-quarters place like a coffee shop, that trait is as vital as pulling a perfect espresso shot. It directly impacts team morale, the customer experience.
He even mentioned being a little careful with hiring single men, didn't he? To avoid tension and drama among a predominantly female staff, prioritizing a harmonious environment.
Yeah, which shows how much he valued that team dynamic. He actually found the hiring process really fun, apparently. Said all but maybe one of his hires were successful, some were slam dunks, one even became a manager after he left.
Wow. So it really underscores the importance of those character traits, maybe even over just years of experience sometimes.
Seems like it in that context. Then we heard about Vanessa's experience hiring for her online English teaching business.
Okay, different field.
Very different. For her, having learned from previous experiences that didn't work out as well, she discovered the key qualities were if someone could understand requests properly, ask the right questions, and ideally do work correctly the first time.
Attention to detail.
Exactly. And this reveals a widespread shift, I think, in modern hiring towards traits like problem-solving, coachability, meticulousness, especially for roles demanding clear communication.
Did she give an example?
She did, asking someone to write sample sentences for vocabulary words. She looked for clarity in understanding instructions, but also for candidates who would proactively ask clarifying questions like long or short definition or double or single space.
Ah, showing they're thinking ahead, anticipating potential issues.
Precisely. The openness to learning and the ability to gracefully accept corrections for future tasks were paramount. Interestingly, she noted qualifications were sometimes lower on the list. Yeah. For a writer, she valued demonstrable experience, can they do a good job, over certificates or degrees.
Okay.
But she contrasted that with more technical roles, like an engineer in a workshop with big machinery. There, obviously, specific job-related qualifications are undeniably crucial.
Makes sense. It highlights the practical side of navigating a job interview, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Both as interviewer and interviewee, and how the emphasis shifts based on the role, the industry.
Absolutely. And in today's fast-paced work environments, efficient communication is also key. Which brings us to understanding modern workplace acronyms.
Ah, yes, the alphabet soup.
Exactly. We heard a quick rundown on WFH, OO, and EOD.
Okay, let's break those down. WFH.
Work from home, obviously become increasingly common since the pandemic.
Right.
Out of office refers to those automated email messages you get when someone's away, sometimes with a touch of humor.
And EOD.
End of day. Universal shorthand for deadlines, as in, I need this finished by EOD. These acronyms, they're more than just shortcuts, you know? They represent the necessity of understanding common workplace shorthand for efficient digital communication. Misunderstanding them could lead to missed deadlines, miscommunications.
Yeah.
The underlying lesson is that cultural and linguistic fluency, it extends to these seemingly small details. So for you listening, what signals do you consciously or unconsciously send in an interview? And how might understanding these common acronyms make your own work life smoother, more efficient?
Okay, let's move into everyday logistics.
Yeah.
We've all been there, right? New city, maybe even a new part of your own city, and you're completely lost.
Oh, definitely. That feeling of just walking in circles.
Exactly. Knowing how to ask for and give directions is an absolutely essential daily skill. We heard a great scenario where someone was quite literally walking in circles trying to find the lakeside hotel.
And what's truly effective here, I think, is the masterclass in multimodal communication they received. It combined visual landmarks, simple cardinal directions, and even offered alternative transport options.
Right, covering all the bases.
It's about providing multiple pathways to understanding. The directions given were incredibly specific, memorable. Things like big park with the fountain, a red post office.
Landmarks you can actually see.
Exactly. Then turn right at the fountain, look for a coffee shop called Bean and Leaf on the corner, and the hotel was clearly described. Across the street from the coffee shop, a big blue building with white windows.
That combination, landmarks and relative positioning, makes it easy to visualize, easy to follow.
Definitely. And they even offered a transport alternative. Bus 22 stops right here, just 2 stops away, with the crucial advice to ask the driver for the lakeside hotel stop.
That's really thoughtful.
It is. This thoughtful addition, plus the reassurance that the area is totally safe and really friendly, and that someone at the coffee shop could help if they still got confused. It goes above and beyond just giving directions.
It's about instilling comfort, ensuring safety for the person asking.
Exactly. Later in the same scenario, the person needed coffee because Bean and Leaf was packed.
Ah, a common problem.
So they were directed to Sunrise Brew Cafe, described by its distinct features, a pink building with the flower boxes and being right across the street, literally a 2-minute walk.
Simple enough.
But then they added features like it being quieter, having an amazing caramel latte, comfy chairs, free Wi-Fi.
Selling points.
Exactly, providing incentive beyond just location. This is a prime example of giving useful, actionable details that enhance the experience, not just solve the immediate problem.
Good point. And when they were craving Asian food, they got equally detailed advice. Golden Lotus, a Vietnamese spot, described as super easy to find.
How easy.
Leave the current cafe, turn left, walk straight to the big bookstore page turner, then turn right. Look for a mural of a dragon on the wall, and the restaurant is just past that next to a flower shop, identifiable by red lanterns.
Wow, that's specific. You can almost see it.
Totally. For sushi, Sacre Bay was mentioned as a bit farther, but totally worth it.
The effectiveness of using these specific, memorable landmarks is so clear throughout these exchanges. But crucially, there's also the importance of confirming understanding, having the person kind of play back parts of the directions.
Like, okay, left, then right at the bookstore. Dragon mural. Got it.
Exactly. That isn't just about confirmation. It's an active listening technique.
Yeah.
It ensures understanding and builds confidence in the person receiving the directions. And again, the helpfulness of offering transport alternatives, like Bus 5 for Golden Lotus, shows that comprehensive approach, anticipating needs.
So when you get directions, do you focus more on landmarks or street names, or maybe a combination? And how might you offer directions to make them clearer and maybe more reassuring for others?
Okay, the grocery store. It might seem mundane, but it's actually a treasure trove of everyday English, a microcosm of practical conversation.
It really is. From finding specific items to navigating sales, checkout lines, it's a masterclass in real-world communication.
Think about just asking for an item, like a all-purpose flour.
It's not just about the aisle number, is it? It's navigating the nuances of different types, self-rising, whole wheat, and knowing when to ask for assistance. Like reaching that olive oil on the top shelf.
Right. Even an item like baking soda can be tricky. Sometimes it's in the baking aisle, sometimes near cleaning supplies. Highlights the need for specific, targeted questions.
And then there's the classic frustration of an item being out of stock,
Yes.
with an expected return date maybe, requiring further inquiry. When do you think you'll get more in?
This whole process provides an incredibly detailed look into consumer decision-making.
Yeah.
We're constantly weighing cost, health, convenience, personal preferences, all while interacting with staff, maybe even fellow shoppers.
Definitely. Product choices involve real-time comparisons, cost-benefit analyses. For snacks, we heard this debate. Chips versus popcorn.
Ah, the snack aisle dilemma.
It wasn't just about taste, it was about convenience. Apparently, microwaving popcorn can be tricky, burning issues and health. Baked chips with 30% less fat. But the critique was not as crispy.
The eternal crispiness factor.
Right. So this led to a pragmatic compromise. Buying both classic and baked demonstrates flexible decision-making right there.
And then there are the deals, right? Like buy 2, get 1 free on crackers. That can suddenly shift your whole purchasing strategy.
Totally changes the maths. In the produce section, the level of detail in describing preferences was fascinating. It shows how we use specific language to express these tiny nuances of freshness, ripeness.
Like what?
For bananas, discussing ripe versus slightly green for longer shelf life, tomatoes need to be firm but slightly soft, with a fresh smell.
The smell test.
Avocados acknowledged as notoriously tricky, that common struggle. Rock hard versus mushy, aiming for that perfect sweet spot of soft but not squishy.
The avocado gamble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Apple's comparing Honeycrisp to Gala brought up a clear price-quality debate. Honeycrisp deemed better quality, but admittedly pricey.
This all demonstrates that careful assessment and the communication of consumer needs. Very specific language.
And it extends to convenience versus freshness, too. Bagged versus loose carrots. Fresh spinach bundles versus pre-washed bags. Saving time.
Trade-offs everywhere.
And spotting clear value, like huge strawberries on a 2 for $6 sale. The conversation then expanded into specialty dietary items. Gluten-free pasta options debated.
Oh, yeah. Brown rice versus chickpea.
Yeah. Brown rice healthy, chickpea high in protein, leading to a decision to buy one of each to try, shows a willingness to experiment.
And gluten-free bread, noted as expensive, made with almond flour, no preservatives, demonstrates consumer awareness about ingredients, cost.
Organic peanut butter, chosen not just for taste, but for no pesticides or artificial stuff, being better for the environment. Plus the practical detail. No added sugar or oils.
Even almond milk was discussed, highlighting its versatility good in smoothies, but not so much in coffee because it doesn't mix as well. Shows a really detailed understanding of product application.
Dairy choices involve checking expiry dates rigorously. Practical advice. Take milk from the back of the shelf for later dates.
Always check the back.
Eggs required checking for cracks. Yogurt for freshness, sometimes deeming it worth spending a bit extra for fresher stuff. Butter chosen, based on use unsalted for baking, controls the salt. Cheese for type, sharp cheddar, and date.
That's a lot of micro decisions.
It is. The frozen food section brought up that common scenario. Favorite item, margarita pizza, out of stock. Leading to a compromise. A 4-cheese over the veggie-loaded option that had broccoli.
Understandable choice for some.
Similar issues with frozen dumplings, berries, prompting a return to fresh produce. At the deli counter, we see practical, precise ordering.
Like?
Sliced turkey breast, half pound, thinly sliced for sandwiches. Cheddar cheese, quarter-pound slice for grilled cheese. Inquiry about pre-made salads, hummus, showing a desire for quick, ready-to-eat options, too.
Makes sense. Convenience again.
Finally, the checkout experience. A masterclass in navigating coupons and returns. Laundry detergent, $2 off, but required checking the size spec. 32-ounce bottle or larger.
Gotta read the fine print.
A BOGO buy one, get one free chips deal was only valid on a specific brand flavor. Barbecue in this case.
The restrictions.
And a $5 off if you spend $25 or more on cleaning products. Coupon was deemed not worth it if the user wasn't spending enough. Even ice cream had a deal. $1 off if buy 2 pints.
Decisions.
The preference for a regular lane over self-checkout for coupons, due to potential machine errors, highlighted a common consumer frustration, a strategic choice for smoother transactions.
Yeah, sometimes the human touch is better for coupons.
And the successful return of expired cereal showed the importance of having a receipt, understanding store policy for an exchange.
Good outcome there. This entire section, it really is a blueprint for confidently navigating any grocery store in English. Showcases the incredible depth of everyday transactional language. How often do you check expiry dates or compare brands? Hashtag tag 3.3 hotel check-in and stay management.
Okay, from shopping, let's transition to travel logistics, specifically the hotel experience, which involves a pretty specific set of polite, often formal interactions.
A different kind of communication challenge. We listened to a detailed check-in process. Guest named Liam Carter, reservation for a standard clean room, 3 nights.
Standard stuff.
Right. And what's fascinating here is the structured flow of information exchange. From confirming basic details to inquiring about quite nuanced amenities, all meticulously designed to ensure guest comfort.
How did it play out?
Well, the front desk staff systematically verified his ID for verification, they said, confirmed he was checking in alone, business trip, keeping things simple, and they proactively highlighted the hotel's location. Close to some fantastic restaurants and shops.
Setting the scene, providing useful context.
Exactly. They provided practical details. Room on the 3rd floor described as a quiet area with a lovely view of the park, which the guest clearly appreciated. Peace and quiet, much appreciated after travel.
Nice touch. They really covered all the bases, didn't they? Checkout time, 11 a.m. Possibility of late checkout. Politely offered a bellhop for luggage guest. Declined. Clearly explained the electronic keycard system.
Crucially, provided Wi-Fi details, network name, password on the card sleeve, information about complimentary breakfast, dining area, 7:10 a.m., and 2:47 coffee tea in the lobby. It demonstrates a really clear, comprehensive communication strategy for welcoming a guest.
Absolutely.
This structured approach continued with confirming preferences, details. Staff reconfirmed the queen room, 3 nights, checkout day. Noted the guest's request for a higher floor had been fulfilled. 3rd floor was the highest.
Good service recovery or confirmation there.
Yeah. They precisely assured him the queen-size bed was a true queen, with new and supportive mattresses installed just last year. The full view of Maplewood Park, plenty of natural light, lovely trees, highlighted especially for sunrise.
Painting a picture again.
And confirmed blackout curtains in all rooms, emphasizing the hotel's understanding of how important a good night's sleep is. This proactive communication of features that enhance comfort, it's key to guest satisfaction, isn't it?
Definitely manages expectations, maybe even exceeds them. Other amenities covered.
Oh yeah. Wake-up call offered. Complimentary buffet breakfast details hot-cold options, eggs, pastries, fresh fruit, even an omelet station.
That was good.
Complimentary parking offered, but the guest didn't have a car. Planning to use public transport? Walk. A map with recommendations was offered and accepted. Payment confirmed as made in full at booking, simplifying the stay. Room service policy, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Menu location, all clearly explained. Very proactive.
They seem very thorough. What about specific in-room things?
Good question. Mini fridge confirmed present in all rooms, along with coffee maker, complimentary bottled water. Staff even added a practical tip. Handy for snacks, drinks from nearby grocery store.
Nice local knowledge.
Microwaves, not standard, but available on request. And even a pillow menu was offered. Memory foam, hypoallergenic, firmer
A
option.
pillow menu, wow.
Right, showcasing an astonishing level of detail in personalized service. It illustrates how hotel staff often go above and beyond, ensuring comfort through detailed communication and these personalized offerings.
So what happened later in the stay? Any issues?
Well, a bedside lamp wasn't working. The front desk quickly troubleshot, asked if it was plugged in first.
Standard first step.
Then correctly diagnosed a touchable bulb issue and efficiently dispatched maintenance Alex to the room immediately. Quick, decisive problem solving communicated clearly. Vital for guest satisfaction.
How did maintenance handle it?
Alex arrived, checked the bulb, cord, quickly determined an internal issue, opted to replace the entire lamp quickly rather than attempt a lengthy repair. Efficient.
Smart. Gets the job done.
And then proactively checked if everything else in the room was working okay, which led to discovering a loose shower head, which he promptly tightened.
Preventing future problems. Good service.
Very good service. Later, room service delivered dinner, grilled salmon, mashed potatoes, asparagus, chocolate lava cake.
Counts delicious.
With a thoughtful, personalized tip. The lava cake is best enjoyed while it's still warm, and their chef takes desserts very seriously.
Nice inside scoop.
They even suggested the buffet or steak for the next meal, reinforcing hospitality, personalized recommendations. Daniel, who delivered the food, also thoughtfully provided the map and brochures, pointed out a cheater controls, reconfirmed Wi-Fi details.
It really outlines almost every interaction you might have at a hotel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ensures you feel prepared, from check-in right through to ordering dessert.
Absolutely. What subtle ways do hotel staff make you feel welcome, and what little details make a stay memorable for you?
Okay, let's zoom out now. Look at the broader art of conversation itself, starting with how we initiate those connections, the ones that enrich daily life.
The starting point. We interact with two main groups, right? People we already know
Yeah.
and strangers.
Yeah. For those you know, like maybe a coworker you bump into at the grocery store, questions about the past are often great icebreakers.
Right.
Things like, what have you been up to lately? Or what were you up to this weekend? You could easily adapt these today, last weekend, keeps them flexible.
And this brings us to a crucial point. How do we adapt our conversation starters depending on who we're talking to? And what subtle cues are we sending through our tone, our body language?
Right. Questions about the present are also common. What do you have going on today? Or the more casual, what have you got going on today?
And for the future, you might ask, do you have anything fun going on this weekend? Or maybe, do you have any plans for Easter? But
There's a caveat, isn't there?
there is. It's crucial to use a light tone, a smile, with these future-oriented questions to make sure they don't sound like a date invitation if that's not your intention. The nonverbal signals are just as important as the words here.
Definitely. And it's so important to reciprocate, too. If someone asks you, what about you? It's that golden opportunity to share something back.
Keep the ball rolling.
Yeah. And it's okay if not everyone is a great conversationalist. Don't take it personally if the flow isn't perfect.
Yeah.
Now, for strangers, context matters immensely.
Hugely. In the U.S., regional differences are significant. In the South, making eye contact, saying hi to strangers, pretty common. But in a busy city like Manhattan, far less so.
Very true.
One fascinating example mentioned was Trader Joe's, where employees are actually amazing at having small talk conversations with strangers. It's apparently a job requirement.
Really? That explains a lot.
Right. Highlights how certain environments can be deliberately designed to be more conducive to initiating conversations. Imagine a dog park scenario. You could casually say, oh, what a cute dog.
Easy opener.
Then gently follow up with, do you come here often? Or do you live nearby? The key here is a light attitude to avoid sounding scary or intrusive.
Yeah, don't want to seem creepy.
Exactly. My colleague once told me about living in South Korea for 3 years and realizing how rusty their English small talk became upon returning.
Oh, I can imagine.
Shared a moment at a driver's license office and then later at Trader Joe's where their brain just shut down when a simple small talk question came up.
Oh, no. That awkward freeze. I can absolutely relate to that. That moment of vulnerability, though. Admitting to the Trader Joe's worker, I'm sorry, I just moved back from Korea and I haven't had small talk in English for a long time, so I'm sorry about my awkwardness.
Yeah, what happened?
It actually built an instant connection because the worker had also lived in Korea.
No way.
Yeah. It immediately helped loosen things up. Show that even native speakers need practice, right?
Wow.
And that vulnerability can powerfully build connection.
That's a great story.
It also reminds us that the ultimate key tool in small talk is a simple one, a smile. It genuinely helps you loosen up, feel more comfortable, recall those sentences.
So true. A smile goes a long way. So, for you listening, how can you use a smile or a light tone to make your conversations more approachable? What's one small way you could practice initiating conversations this week? #tag 4.2 key small talk topics and deepening connections.
Okay, so beyond that initial hello, what are the safe go-to topics? The ones that keep conversations light, flowing, but maybe even meaningful.
The small talk staples. The first, perhaps simplest, is always the weather.
Can't go wrong with the weather.
Usually, it's a simple, non-controversial, neutral topic. Unless, of course, you wade into the complexities of climate change.
Good point. Stick to the basics.
What's compelling here is how these seemingly mundane topics, they serve as a bridge, allowing for deeper connection by revealing shared experiences or even personal passions if you deftly avoid common conversational pitfalls.
Right. Weather is often called an icebreaker for a reason. Makes introducing a conversation less awkward.
Common questions. Isn't it a gorgeous day? Or can you believe how rainy it's been? A humorous one. Is it hot cold enough for you? Playfully acknowledging extreme temperatures.
Yeah, we use that one a lot.
They're often easy yes-no questions, right? Makes for a simple, low-pressure entry point, invites a brief, comfortable exchange.
Okay, so weather is number one. What's next?
The second excellent topic, your current location, where you are.
Context dependent, though.
Absolutely. Context matters. You wouldn't ask, do you come here often? At a hospital, for instance.
No, probably not.
But in places like a park, zoo, library, museum, it's perfect. For regular hangouts, you might ask, this place is great. Do you come here often, or do you live near here?
Simple, relevant.
For special occasions, like a museum exhibit, have you seen the Da Vinci exhibit? It's really cool. Or which exhibit do you like the most?
Talking about the shared experience.
Exactly. In transit,
Yeah.
airport, train station. A common effective question is, so where are you headed? Using headed as a verb for destination. Following up with, are you traveling for business or pleasure? Can deepen the conversation. But always be aware of potentially sensitive reasons, right? Someone might be traveling for a funeral. Got to read the room.
Good point. Okay, third topic.
Third topic is plans. Covers past, present, future. For people you kind of know, something like, hey, how are you? What have you been up to? Works well.
Casual check-in.
If you haven't seen someone in a while, we have so much to catch up on. What are you up to this weekend? That implies a desire not just to meet, but to learn about their recent experiences. Catch up means learning past events.
Right. Informal invitations like, do you want to grab coffee, drink, lunch, brunch, dinner, and catch up? They're incredibly common, aren't they? Implying a less serious, spontaneous meeting.
Very common. And again, that light tone is paramount here. Avoid any misinterpretation as a date unless that is the intention.
Safe holiday questions, too, like, I can't believe it's already time for holiday. Do you have any plans? Excellent for general small talk. Universally applicable, forward-looking.
Definitely. The fourth, and perhaps most common small talk topic is
Job.
For someone you've never met, so what do you do? Or, so what do you do for work is extremely common. Means, what is your job?
The standard opener.
You can follow up with, how long have you been doing this job? Or maybe, so what did you do before this? Covers previous employment, or maybe being a student, traveling.
Notice the use of so there as a filler word.
Yes, it's not just noise. It provides a smooth entrance to questions, makes them more casual and natural. Avoid sounding like an interrogation.
Good tip.
If they seem to love their job, so what made you get into architecture or teaching or whatever it is, that's a great way to explore passion. And if they don't seem to like it,
Tricky.
a truly insightful question is, if money was no object, what job would you do?
Ooh, I like that one.
Gets right to the heart of their passion, right? Can reveal a treasure of information about their true aspirations.
Definitely filing that one away. What about for coworkers? In the lunchroom, say.
If you know their department or a project, hey, what's new in the marketing department today? Or how's your project going if you're not sure? Do you have any fun or exciting projects coming up? A good general option.
Even if they give short answers.
It's worth a try. They might actually be excited to share. And you're demonstrating genuine interest.
Okay, so those are the topics. Any overall tips for excellent small talk?
Yes. 4 crucial tips were shared. Really transformative, I think. First, put your phone away.
Obvious, but important.
Avoid disconnecting. It signals your full presence. Second, be curious about the other person and truly be sincere. Ask why or how questions. Why did you decide to get this type of dog? How long have you had this dog?
Go beyond the surface.
Third, and this is key, do not interrogate, share about yourself. Balance is crucial. Offer personal connections. Oh, you're a math teacher. When I was in high school, I had an awesome math teacher. It's about giving from yourself, not just extracting answers.
Make it a two-way street.
Exactly. And fourth, avoid your personal favorite topic or essentially lecturing. While you can share interests, ensure the conversation stays balanced, don't get carried away lecturing about, say, gardening if the other person has no experience or interest in it.
Keep it balanced. Which of these small talk tips resonates most with you? How will you try to integrate them into your next conversation? All right, finally, let's wrap things up by tackling one of the biggest challenges, I think, of modern life: achieving work-life balance amidst this whirlwind of commitments we all seem to have.
The elusive balance. We heard a very personal account from a couple. Both work, 3 children, 2 cats, 9 chickens, a house, big garden.
Wow, that is a lot going on. It brings home the point, doesn't it? This isn't just some theoretical content people talk about.
It absolutely does. And what's fascinating here is that there's no single one-size-fits-all answer. There just isn't. It requires intentional choices, a willingness to adapt, and a crystal clear understanding of what truly matters to you.
So how do they manage it?
Well, for one of them, a teacher, their strategy revolved around deliberately not taking a full-time job at this point,
Okay.
which offered professional engagement but without strict fixed hours. This allowed them to negotiate Fridays off.
Big win.
Huge. Gave them more time with family, aligned vacations with the children's school schedule, even allowed them to manage school drop-offs personally. The trade-off, of course.
Let me guess. Money.
Bingo! Not as much money. Highlighting that conscious decision. Prioritize time over income.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the other person?
They worked for themselves, running their own business. Noted that the job could be never-ending. Always new ideas. Always more to do.
I know that feeling.
Her ideal scenario: working from a co-working space. For the community, events, just being around other people. But the current reality: working from home with young kids. Convenient, yes, but challenging for community and focus.
So what was her key strategy?
100% presence.
Meaning?
If she's working, she's focused solely on work. But if her kids interrupt, she stops work, focuses entirely on them, then returns later, recognizing that it's going to be okay if tasks get delayed slightly.
That takes discipline.
It really does. She explicitly avoids multitasking, like checking emails while talking to the kids, because it just leads to frustration. She works when kids are at school or sleeping or with someone else, and makes a conscious effort not to use TV as the primary go-to option for distraction.
That deliberate focus, the ability to compartmentalize, sounds crucial.
And both individuals acknowledge that they have actively sought out flexible jobs, and that willingness to change directions when things just aren't working, that's absolutely vital.
It's not static, is it? It evolves.
Exactly. This contrasts sharply with, historical shifts from traditional roles: one parent works, one stays home, to now both parents often working or mixing these traditional roles. Modern generations are constantly evolving and shifting to find more balance.
So what are the universal actionable tips? What did they suggest based on their collective experience?
A powerful exercise, actually. Dump out the bucket of all the things you have going on.
Okay, visualize the chaos.
Right. And then honestly decide what is absolutely necessary. This naturally leads to identifying what we can cut.
Like what?
Could be expenses, allowing you to work less. Could be trips, commitments, even hobbies sometimes. Our expert shared a personal example. Stopping watching hockey, their favorite sport, for now, because they just don't have time for it anymore. It's a real-life trade-off.
Wow, that shows real prioritization.
It does. It underscores that key message.
Yeah.
There's not a one-size-fits-all answer. You just got to figure it out somehow.
Okay.
Through conscious decisions, adaptability,
And the overarching message.
prioritize balance, because as they put it, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, and you'll just be a better person for it.
Powerful stuff. It makes it clear that work-life balance is such a deeply personal equation, full of inevitable trade-offs, evolving strategies. So for you listening, how do you currently manage your work-life balance? What's maybe one thing you could dump out of your bucket or simplify to find a bit more equilibrium? Hashtag tag outro. And that brings us to the end of another, well, I think enlightening deep dive. We've unpacked so much today. Everything from those first introductions, daily routines, to complex workplace dynamics, the subtle art of navigating a grocery store, seamless hotel check-ins, and that intricate dance of small talk.
Our hope, really, is that by exploring these everyday English conversations, you've gained not just, new vocabulary, but a deeper understanding of the unspoken rules.
Yeah.
The rhythms, the personality, the things that make communication truly effective, impactful.
So as you go about your day, maybe heading to work, visiting a new place, or just making small talk with someone new, consider this. What single small change in your approach to conversation could maybe spark a more meaningful connection?
Mm-hmm. Or what unspoken rule of interaction will you try to observe more closely this week?
Lots to think about.
Keep listening, keep exploring, and keep engaging with the world around you.
Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep.